Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an update for Project Level Up, the light version. If you are unfamiliar with Project Level Up, it was created by the lovely Sofie Alexandra, who I will have linked down below. She is an expert panner. I am a little bit of a novice panner and definitely a slow panner. So typically for this project in level 1, you would randomize a palette, use every shade in that palette one time and hit one pan. Level 2, you would randomize another palette, use every shade in that palette twice and hit 2 pans, etc., until level 5, at which point a lot of people choose to go back to level 1. But for me and my makeup usage, I picked a level 1 palette. I worked on my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. I used every shade in that palette at least once, and then I had one focus shade where instead of hitting pan, I just decided I would use it 10 times. For level 2, I had rolled in my Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette, and similar thing here, I used every shade in this palette twice, and then I had 2 focus shades that I used each 10 times. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm always getting my words mixed up when I try to explain this, but I feel like you all know what I'm trying to say. So I'm happy to report that I successfully completed level 2 with my Mini Gold palette, and I am now ready to come back and report on my usage and also randomize a new palette to roll in for level 3, which is so exciting. I'll first go ahead and insert a picture of what this palette was looking like when I rolled it in. This is definitely one of my top favorite Natasha Denona palettes and definitely among the minis that I have. So this palette did have a bit of use, but no pans, no real dents, and it definitely just wasn't looking as loved as it could have. But this is what my palette is looking like today. So hopefully you can see that this palette is now looking a lot more loved, and we've got some pretty noticeable dips in lots of these shades. I'm going to go through shade by shade and let you know how many times I used each shade. So my focus shades were actually the ones on either end. I always get confused about the names of these shades, so I'm just going to point. I used this shade here 14 times. My goal was 10 because this was one of my focus shades, so I did exceed my goal. This shade here I used 10 times, so it ended up being like an informal focus shade because I was using this as a liner shade for a lot of the looks I did with this palette. This duochrome green to gold shade in the middle I used 6 times. This green matte here I used 4 times. And then my other focus shade I used 10 times to complete my goals for level 2. I actually got my last few uses on this palette in my eye look today because I was just really wanting to complete level 2. I feel like I've had a great time spent with this palette over the past couple of months, but definitely ready to shake things up and keep this project moving along. I am really happy though to see a bunch of love and use when I look at this palette now. There's definitely some dips and dents that were not there before, and yeah, I'm feeling good about putting this one to the side and picking something fresh and new. So without further ado, I think we should go ahead and randomize my next palette for level 3. I've opened up my Pretty Random app here, and I hope that we're not going to have any repeats from the palettes that I've already done, but if we do roll those, I will just roll again. Let me make sure I'm screen recording here, and here we go. Wow, okay, the ABH Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 4. Now this was one of the palettes that was given to me by my friend Liz when she passed a bunch of her palettes over to me. And I have to say it's one that I haven't dipped into a ton from those palettes that she so generously and lovingly gave me. So I'm actually really looking forward to getting to know this palette. But if you know anything about the Norvina Pro palettes, they are huge. So I have to use every shade in that palette 3 times and also have 3 focus shades that I use 10 times. So this is going to be a hefty goal, but I kind of had it easy with the last level, so I guess it serves me right to roll a bigger palette in. So let me go run and get that palette, and then I will come back and show you the palette and also pick focus shades. All right, so I grabbed the Norvina Pro Volume 4 palette. I will go ahead and warn you, mine looks a little bit beat up because this unfortunately did shatter in the mail on its way to me. So I've had to repress several of the shades, and some of the shades have gotten into their neighbor shades, etc. So if it looks a little messy, that's why. But I'll go ahead and show you what the palette is looking like. You can actually see this shade right here. On the bottom corner, I actually was not able to salvage, so that one is just not even in the palette anymore. So one less shade that I have to worry about, I guess. I feel like there are definitely some beautiful shades in here, some real potentials for fun, bright, colorful looks, but there's also quite a few neutrals through here that hopefully will make nice, easy, everyday shades for me to focus on, especially since I have to pick 3 focus shades this time around. I think I have to be somewhat boring and have at least one of my focus shades be one of these neutral transition shades. So I'm gonna pick the shade A4 for one of the shades that I have to use 10 times. I'm also gonna pick the shade E4, which is a kind of plummy purpley matte, because I think this shade will pair really well with the more purpley shimmers that I have in my Pan Those palettes for this year. So those are 2 matte shades that I think I could easily dip into for a variety of looks. And then I should probably have at least 1 shimmer. I think I'm just gonna go with A5 because this one did shatter quite badly and there's not a ton of product left in it. So I might as well use as much of the product as I can. That's this one here in the corner. It's like a really nice goldy champagne color. I know there's not the most exciting focus shades, but I have to be realistic here, especially with such a big palette. So those will be my 3 that I reach into 10 times, and then the rest of the palette I will be reaching into at least 3 times. So here are those focus shades again. We have A5, A4, and E4. And even though the shades have been repressed, they still feel really, really smooth and excellent quality. We'll just give those a little swatch here. Yeah, still really, really beautiful quality to the shades, which is no surprise. I really like the quality of ABH shadows. So this is the palette that I will be working on. I definitely foresee some challenges, especially with these pressed glitters at the bottom. I know a lot of people use pressed glitters on their nails. I've given that a try in the past and it didn't really go very well for me. So I might have to try some other creative ways of using these glitters. If you know of any, let me know. And then there's definitely going to be quite a few pinky purpley looks, and I'm actually really excited for this fun neon yellow that feels very summery to me, especially for an inner corner. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this. I think there's a lot of variety in this palette, and it's definitely going to take me perhaps longer to come back with an update. So if you would like to see my update for level 3, make sure you are subscribed so that you don't miss it when I finally am able to achieve my goals for this one. Otherwise, just wish me luck. This is a big palette and yeah, I've got my work cut out for me for this one, but I'm looking forward to getting to know this palette because it's a newer one to my collection anyway, and one that I haven't played around with a ton yet. So that is the update for Project Level Up Lite. Let me know in the comments if you are working on this project or a similar project and how it's going for you. Have you been able to level up yet this year? I feel like I might be a little bit behind other people. I'm just now getting to level 3, but this is a challenging project, even with the light version. So Sofie Alexandra definitely set us up with a challenge on this one, but it is so much fun. I really like having a different focus palette to use alongside of my Pan Those palettes or when I need a break from my Pan Those palettes. So I'm really enjoying this one so far, and I hope you are enjoying these updates. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.